OK, here we go then.
There is always something there to remind me. Always something there to remind me. I was born.
Well, our next guest this morning is one of the most successful and popular female singers of all time.
You'll always be a part of me.
Talking about Sandie Shaw, of course. She is back and she's singing the soundtrack to this film. It's called Made in Dagenham, which is all about the famous Equal Pay Forge strike back in the 1960s. It's a great story and she is heavily involved.
Oh, lovely, really inspiring. I love them. I met them last week, all the women that were actually involved in the strike. And in Dagenham, we had a lovely get-together and very naughty, actually.
What were they now? Tell me more.
No. It's all girl stuff. But it's like home from home because I know these kind of women really well. Would have been my aunties or my grandparents. Yeah, I know them well, and I feel really at home.
So what do they make of the film? Watching themselves on screen being played by famous people. It must be quite strange for them.
Oh, they love it.
Yeah.
They love it. They were we couldn't get them off the red carpet, dancing up and down. They had such a good time.
What a great day out for them. Now, you, of course, you're doing the soundtrack for this. It's a lovely record, this one. What's the story behind it for us, Sandie?
Stephen Woolley, the producer, is the ex-partner of my second husband, Nick. They used to make films together, big films like Scandal, as you know, Mona Lisa. And they got Oscars together. Used to go to Hollywood together to the Oscar ceremonies, which was rather exciting.
Oh, I bet it was.
Anyway, so we go back a long time, and so Steve was always looking for the right film for me to put my voice onto. So as soon as he got this subject material, he immediately came to me because he knows about my background, and he's a fan.
It's a very interesting time for you because we haven't seen you for quite some time. You, of course, are back with the soundtrack. You did your first gig in I don't know how many years recently. It's a very exciting time for you right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I love doing Vintage Goodwood. I had lots of other women I invited on with me to sort of reclaim songs that men had usually been associated with. And it was challenging, I think, for a lot of them because I asked them to was concentrating on the sounds of their voices and what I thought they personally represented, and tried to pick material that would stretch them a bit. It was such a great experience, and all of us are still in touch, and we're going to have a big reunion again soon.
Well, that's good. So what does this actually mean then? Because you've done the soundtrack, you've done this gig. It sounds to me like you're very much back for good. What's coming next for you?
I have absolutely no idea. I've been absolutely inundated with stuff. It has taken me completely by surprise. I'm absolutely bloody exhausted, I can't tell you, and been nagged silly about doing something again. And to be quite honest, it's been such an easy thing to do. Going in the studio just felt so easy. It's like it's my job. It's what I do. You know, I'm a pop queen. It's so easy. And the reason I've been quiet is because I've been actually exploring, you know, my business capacities and my brain. You know, went to university and then became a psychotherapist and exploring those parts of myself. But I actually reached a point where I thought, why don't I just enjoy the things that come easily? And, you know, because it's not, I'm only going to have, a limited amount of time where I can look this good and sound this good, and I will really, really regret it if I don't take advantage of it. And that's kind of the message that I'm getting for myself and from other people seems to be, it gives me so much pleasure that you're here, Sandie, and just the looks on their faces, and it's so nice to be able to give that to someone.
Well, people have grown up with your music, and it wasn't just the top 10 records that you had, it was Eurovision, of course, as well, and I'm sure we've got a number of people listening right now who are watching on that very evening when you won. Some people can be quite negative when it comes to comebacks. Some people would say they're only coming back because they've run out of money. What would you say to those people?
I wouldn't bother listening to them. It's stupid. There is no money in music anymore. It's the worst. If you want to make money, you do not go into the music industry. It's the worst career move to make. However, if you love music, it gives you joy, and other people are inspired by it. I'd prefer to do that. You know, I am a great businesswoman. I can make money any way that I want, but I actually can only really enjoy myself comfortably in this way. I think it's just ignorance that would make people say that.
One thing I need to ask you about is your lovely feet, because I'm led to believe they're smooth and they're beautiful. Now, you have had a feet lift, not a facelift, which a number of celebrities have, but you have had a feet lift. Can you explain what that means in layman's terms, please?
Oh, it means I've had cosmetic work done on my feet. Some of it was necessary and some of it was cosmetic. I just wanted lovely feet.
There's nothing wrong with that, is there?
I've never had pretty feet, and I've always taken the rest of me for granted because it all kind of, it's all in the right place. And I quite like my face as I've matured. I think and I want to encourage other women to like their faces and who they are. But I thought when I was 60, I ought to do something to celebrate, treat myself. And I thought, what is it that I really don't like? I thought, I really would like pretty feet. They're handsome feet, I think. More
handsome
than pretty.
Feet, yes.
They're handsome because they're still large. I still have a size 8 feet.
Wow, that's big.
I'm 5'9". They're not big. They're in relation to my body. They're the right size.
Yeah.
To balance me. All my children are tall too. My youngest daughter is 5'11", and she's gorgeous. My son is 6'5". So we're a tall family with tall people.
So does this go back to the 1960s then? Because we, of course, know you for singing on programmes such as Top of the Pops with no shoes on. Was that because you always hated your feet, you never felt comfortable in shoes, but now you've had the surgery, you do feel comfortable?
I don't know. I mean, there's so much sort of like mystique about my feet. It's a weird thing, isn't it?
It's a strange thing, yes.
It's a weird thing, but I'd rather that than another portion of my body, to be quite honest. And for me to be able to, it's essential kind of thing. It feels good. It feels good to be barefoot. For me, it keeps my feet on the ground. It keeps I don't know, it's just like for me it's the most comfortable thing to do and the most natural thing to do. I've done it for so long, I kind of run out of excuses as to why I'm doing it.
You see, what I find fascinating about this, if somebody is walking around the office and they've got no shoes on, somebody says, oh, look, you're doing a Sandie Shaw. That's the legacy of you wearing no shoes in the 1960s.
It's true, but people in offices do have Sandie Shaw days when they're all allowed to work barefoot. And I recommend very much that you do it over there. You can always sit with your feet in a foot spa.
I could do, yeah. I don't know what the management will make of that, but
they all have to go barefoot as well. You will have a whole different way of working, I promise you. Just try it.
I'm going to try it for one day.
No, not you. Everybody has to try it together.
If we have got the management listening right now, which I'm sure they are, take that on board. Now, you have recorded many of your records in foreign languages. This I find quite interesting because I cannot speak another word of a foreign language, let alone sing a record and sing a record well in a foreign language.
I can.
I know you can. How did you tackle something like that?
I just did it. I could anyway. I could. I'm just good at that sort of thing. Linguistically, I'm really good. One of my daughters is also really good at it. She speaks fluent Spanish and Portuguese and has got first degrees and all that sort of thing in it. But I had to learn on the hoof, as it were. And I pick up accents really quickly. I knew a bit of French from school. And so I started off with French and found it really easy and quite fun, actually. German I didn't find so much fun. I used to start doing it phonetically. The German, I never really liked singing in German. It's okay. It doesn't really swing. And Italian is fantastic. It's all. I did lots of special Italian songs.
It's sexy,
recorded.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know it's sexy, come on, let's be honest about it. But that's certainly, of course...
Spanish is very impassionato.
Yeah, I'll take that on board. But that, of course, worked very well for you in Europe. I've got to ask you about Eurovision as well. You, of course, won Eurovision, the first Brit to win Eurovision. Now, you hated that record at the time. Back in the 1960s, you were saying, Eurovision, it's a bit dull, it's not particularly great. So if it wasn't great then, it must be absolutely awful, in your opinion, right now.
I have no idea. I don't watch that sort of thing.
Really?
No. Do you?
Sometimes.
No, I think they should take it off.
But when was the last time you sat down to actually watch Eurovision, though?
I never have.
Never?
No.
Even the year after you won it, you didn't think to yourself,
no.
I'll just give it a quick watch, see who's going to win it this year?
No. Why?
Well, I thought you might have done because you won it. You might be interested to know who won it the year after, but you've always thought it was that bad.
I think I had to go to the one the year after to give the prize to the next person.
And that was as far as it went for you?
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, no, it's interesting that you say that.
To be quite honest, I love the idea behind it, in that after the war, they all got together, the European countries, to find a way of getting together based on something creative and that was constructive, instead of, knocking the out of each other. And this was the idea that they came up with. And the actual principle of it, I think, is fantastic, and I think could be worked on now to create a new show that's actually more relevant to today. But apart from being sort of a laugh for gay people, I can't see it's the thing that they're doing now means anything. I'm sure it makes a few people happy, but as far as the BBC are concerned, it doesn't get the audiences.
No, that's true.
So it must mean that it doesn't. So everybody seems to be in agreement with me. But I actually do think that the principle behind it is really, really important. I really do. That to have some way of bringing Europe together once a year for a cultural event, I think it is great. It just needs to be rethought, that's all.
Do you know what I like about you, Sandie? You tell things the way they are. You don't beat around the bush. You get to the point. And so many people would say, oh no, I absolutely love Eurovision. I won it back in the 1960s and I still watch it every year, but you're honest. And I like that. Just finally, you're on husband number 3 now. In your autobiography, some very, very honest stories about what happened between you and Jeff Banks. And from what it says in the book, he went off with the money. I mean, you must still have nightmares about something like that, surely.
I always used to fantasise that, I know it's fantasy now, I actually thought it was real that he would one day pay me back.
But it's never happened, obviously.
No, it hasn't. And, he makes all this money, he's never bothered to pay me a penny back. But the funny thing is that when one of my daughters got married, he had a big wedding, which I obviously had to attend. He, as the father of the bride, he did it. And I kept going around saying to people, are you enjoying that wine? They say, yeah. I said, I paid for that.
Oh, I love your honesty. I love it. You are cheeky, you are. And here's a little fact for you. Not that you're really going to be that interested in this fact, but your second husband, he gave my dad his job back in 1980 at Virgin, and he's still working for the company to this day. There you go.
Oh, wow. Nick is doing really well. He's one of my best friends, actually. He is chairman of the European Film Foundation, and also he runs the Film and Television School, the British Film and Television School in Beaconsfield, just outside London. So, and obviously we've got 2 kids together, and we get on really well.
That's really nice to hear.
Yeah.
Really, really nice to hear.
Husband number 3, just to reassure you, I am sticking.
Yeah.
I'm so sticking. I really found the right man now.
Fantastic. Sandie Shaw, thank you so much for your time today. I know that you are going to be joining us again tomorrow on Schools Out, where you are going to be picking some of your favourite songs of all time. I'm delighted to see you back, because some people, when they come back, you think, oh, here we go again. But the record you've produced is actually excellent. And what I like about it, it's all linked in. Yes, you've had lots of offers over the years, but you are a Dagenham girl. The film is all about Dagenham. You work there as well, so it all fits in very nicely. So I don't think personally there can be any negativity at all about what you're doing right now. There just can't be, can there?
I haven't experienced any, to be quite
Exactly.
honest.
And we want to see you back making some new material. Is that going to happen? Yes or no? Come on.
I'm going to have a very, very busy next year. You just wait and see.
Fantastic. It's great to see you back. Sandie Shaw, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Have a fabulous weekend. All the best now.
Bye.
Interesting stuff, eh?